I have to say, there are no snakes in studio. That's what I am going to say now. Will DeMeyer, who is my next guest, lives something of a double life. By profession, he's an electrician, but when he gets the call, he becomes Will DeMeyer Snake Wrangler. Yes, indeed. As a child growing up in Port Elizabeth, he'd spend much of his time at the local snake park that his grandmother worked at, and he loved to look at the snakes and hold them and was absolutely intrigued by them. Well, fast forward a few years, and now his passion has become his job, and he takes calls from people across Cape Town when they've discovered an unwanted slippery so-and-so in their back garden or bathroom or wherever it may be. So to tell us more about the day in the life of a snake wrangler, I'm delighted this morning to be joined by Will on the line from Simonstown. Well, welcome to Late Nights on Cape Talk. Great to have you with us this morning. Now, I came across you on Facebook the other day, and I thought we have got to get Will on the phone. I'm so intrigued by what you do, and also the fact that it seems in the last couple of weeks I've seen a number of people who've been sending in or posting on Facebook pictures of snakes in their bathrooms and kitchens and various things. How on earth did you get into this line of work?
Well, it was actually a very long time ago when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My granny used to work at the Port Elizabeth Snake Park, and then I used to often walk around and watch all the snake shows and then look at all the snakes, and then I just became really fascinated with them. And then I used to walk around in the bush and then catch the odd snake and go from like to different friends' houses, and they might have had a snake there, and I used to hold it and put it around my wrist. Obviously, like the non-venomous snake. And then I just started getting into it. And then back in Cape Town, yes, I went up into the bush and caught more and more snakes. And then, I actually took out quite a lot of snake books that were written by all these different authors. And then I was like very fascinated with everything. And then in school, I used to catch, during break, I used to run actually away from the school grounds during break up into the field and go and catch snakes with a friend or two of mine. And yes, it just started to progress from there. And then actually in school, from grade 1 till about grade 4, I wrote at least about 4 different snake books, drew pictures of snakes and colored them in, and my handwriting and spelling and stuff obviously wasn't very good then, but, it just showed you what keen interest I had then and now. So.
I mean, it's absolutely fascinating to me. And now this is what you do on a daily basis. You go in and you, what's the term? Catch a snake, rescue a snake from people's homes?
Basically what happens is during the dry season, which is now, or the hot season, summer, whatever you want to call it, because there's say little rain and water, the snakes tend to move down from the mountain because they have a very strong sense of smell with their tongue. So they can smell water for up to about 200 meters away, and then they actually make their way down towards the houses because they are very thirsty. So obviously dripping taps and people watering their gardens and so forth. Then they eventually make their way into the garden and sometimes into the house to escape the heat of the day. And then you get some frantic people jumping up and down, and then they run around phoning, looking for a snake catcher, and then you get your call, 1 or 2, 3 calls a day, and then you catch the snake, and then you drive into the reserve, and then you release the snake and take some nice photographs. So it's actually quite fun.
I'm looking at a photograph that you posted on Facebook a few hours ago of you holding what looks like an enormous puff adder.
Yes, that's correct.
When it comes to, and I guess there is a great deal of skill involved, and I would imagine that your background being so extensive as it is, you've learned how to how to deal with snakes in a safe way, in a way that is safe for them and for you. Have you ever been in a situation where you've thought, "Oh dear, I'm in trouble here"?
No, not at all. No. Actually, before I started learning how to work with snakes properly, with proper equipment and proper gear, I actually got bitten by a snake because I saw people catching snakes on TV and people holding snakes in snake books, like actually holding them firmly behind the head. You know how you see pictures of people holding snakes behind the head? And I thought, okay, that's the way that you've got to do it. So then I went out and I caught this puff adder and I tried to grab it behind the head, and then of course I got bitten. And that was in 2007, that's 11 years ago. And then after that, I got introduced to actually quite a good friend from Emhoff Snake Park, Mr. Sean Boddington and his wife Tracy Boddington. And Sean slowly started teaching me how to handle venomous snakes, slowly but surely, using the proper gear and the proper equipment. And then it slowly started progressing from there, and just everything that he's taught me and what he's told me and what he's shown me, it just all made sense. And since then, I just haven't had any fear. So, I'm just pretty confident in what I do. So
if you are just joining us this morning, I'm joined on the line by Will DeMeyer, who is a snake catcher, a real-life snake catcher, who lives right here in Cape Town. And this is his busy season, the dry season. And if you go to his Facebook page, you will see him with all number of beautiful snakes. I mean, I have to say, we were speaking about phobias on the show the other day, Will, and snakes is not one of mine. It's never been something that I that said, if there are any snakes listening, please don't come to my home this summer. However, it's not a phobia of mine. I would happily sort of hold a snake and all the rest of it. But what do you wish people knew about snakes, whether it's around fears and sort of minimizing people's fears around them, or just generally, what should we know? Is it true when people say they're more scared of us than we are of them?
Yes, that's correct. No, I just wish people knew that snakes aren't out there to get us, and they actually are more scared of us than we are of them. So, a lot of people think that snakes are out there to get you, and they will bite you and they will attack you, which is totally incorrect. They are very nervous and sort of secretive and shy, and all they want to do is actually get away. So, at the end of the day, people just need to sort of get around that they are they're there, they're part of the ecosystem, and they're there for a reason, and we actually need to kind of look after these animals and treat them with respect, and obviously not try and kill them, and obviously not try and pick them up, and just leave snakes alone. And if you do come across a snake, just call your local snake person.
Are you, I guess, having done this for a number of years now, you're in a position where if you do turn up to somebody's home or wherever, you're able to ascertain fairly quickly whether the snake is dangerous, whether it's venomous. Does that have any impact on the way that you catch the snake?
Yes, I can see straight away if a snake, well, because I've been studying all the books and catching snakes for so long, I can see straight away if a snake is venomous or not. And then obviously, if it's venomous, then I would use my hook and take the hook and then grab the snake with the hook and put it in the bucket and close the bucket safely. And if the people want to get some pictures, then I'll gladly let them take some pictures and then put the snake away. And then if it's non-venomous, then I will pick the snake up with my hand and maybe put it around my neck. And if anyone else is brave enough to do it, then they can also hold a snake, of course, if it's non-venomous, and I've caught it on their property. And, yeah.
Now, not that we would want to put you out of business, Will, at all, but if there are people listening now and they are in a situation where one day they come home or whatever, that they find a snake in their property, would you ever advise that they try and deal with it by themselves, or would you always say, no, give me a call?
No, you see, what I'd ask them to do, if I couldn't get there or no one else could get there in time, is actually, from a safe distance, take a photograph of the snake and then maybe send it to me on WhatsApp or whatever the case may be, and then I would be able to identify the snake from there. If the picture was clear enough, I could actually say, okay, it's a mole snake or a slug eater or an olive house snake. It's perfectly fine to leave it in your garden. If it was a puff adder or a Cape Cobra or whatever the case may be, then I would say, could you please just keep an eye on it from a safe distance, and I will get someone there as soon as I can, or I will be there as soon as I can. That's the recommendation I give. But do not approach the snake and do not try and kill the snake. That's how people get bitten. So
people doing their own sort of DIY rescues, not advisable?
Not advisable at all. That's how people actually get bitten.
Yeah. So, what is the information that you need then? Like, if somebody gives you a call and says, "Look, there's a snake in my house. I've got no idea. All I can," and it would probably be me. My description would probably be terrible. I'd probably say, "Well, listen, I can't tell you how long it is. You know, it's longer than a couple of, I don't know, longer than a baseball bat, and it's brown." I mean, that's not going to be, what sort of things should we be looking out for? Are we looking out for markings on the back, the shape of the head, in order to give you a better idea if we don't have a camera phone, which I know is very, very few people these days, but in terms of describing the snake, what are the key things that allow you to identify the type of snake it's likely to be?
It's more of the patterns. A lot of people are familiar with the patterns, the yellow and the black, which is the most common snake, the puff adder. I think 99 or 95% of people would know what a puff adder is. But a Cape Cobra and a mole snake, I think people tend to get a bit confused. Whereas a Cape Cobra, a lot of Cape Cobras are a lot more brown, and they've got the head is actually a lot wider. And because the head's wider, it's actually because of the venom glands. And a mole snake, the snake is a lot shinier, and it's a lot more black, and it's a lot more thicker, and the head's actually the same size as the body. So a Cape Cobra, you would easily see that the head is a lot bigger. The width is a lot bigger than the body. So, what I would also suggest is if you see the snake in the house, would be to, especially if it's in the house, is to see exactly where it's gone, and then lock your windows, close the doors, and then just call your nearest snake handler, and then they'll know exactly where it is.
What are the most dangerous snakes that we have in the Western Cape?
In the Western Cape, the most dangerous snake is the puff adder, because it's the most common, and it actually bites more people, and it bites more dogs than any other snake. But it's not the most venomous snake.
Right. What's the most venomous?
The most venomous snake you get, believe it or not, is a worm slung.
Really?
Drop for drop, yes. It's the most venomous snake in Africa. But it is actually the most shy and the most docile snake you get. So the only people that do get bitten by worm slung are snake handlers themselves, or people, or someone that's actually trying to physically kill a worm slung. Those are the only recorded bites and cases.
Do you carry anti-venom with you? Will?
Absolutely not. No,
really?
You can't. No, because the thing is with anti-venom, you used to be able to buy it over the counter. Well, I don't know about over the counter, but in the pharmacy. I don't know if you needed a prescription or not. This was quite a while ago. And they've actually found out that a lot more people were dying because of the antivenom. The reason for that is because if you administer antivenom alone, the chances of going into anaphylactic shock are extremely high. So it has to be given in a hospital with other medications such as adrenaline, steroids, antihistamine, and you have to be on a heart monitor with a drip and everything like that. So it's quite a procedure.
Yeah.
So antivenom is a big no. That's hospital only. Yeah.
Interesting. Just finally, before we let you go, Will, what's the biggest snake that you've ever caught?
I think the biggest snake I've ever caught would be a mole snake, which was about 2.3 meters long.
Oh, no, forget it, Will. I'm out. I was going to say it would be lovely to do a ride along with you one day, but no, if you're catching things over 2 meters long, Will, I'm out, I'm afraid. I mean, I don't have an enormous fear of them, but sure. And I mean, what was that in somebody's home?
Yes, it was.
And where did they live?
It was in Cape Town. It wasn't in someone's home. It was in the garden. Yeah,
right.
It was
near enough for me.
Yeah, it was in the. I don't know if you know the Noordhoek area.
I do very well.
Yes, it was in Noordhoek. Yeah, it was a massive snake. I'll never forget that one.
Which areas in Cape Town are most prone to snakes? I'm a member of a Facebook group on for Hout Bay, and it seems that Hout Bay seems to be quite a common area for snakes. What are the other hot spots?
It's Hout Bay, and then obviously where I stay at Simonstown, which is very high, and then Glencairn, which is quite close to Simonstown, about 5 km. And then there's also Fishhook, which has on the mountainside, Clovelly and Fishhook mountainside also have quite a few snakes. Cork Bay, St. James, Muizenberg. And then the hottest spots, I'd say, is Noordhoek, Kommetjie. Those are probably the biggest, where you get the most calls.
Yeah.
Simonstown, Noordhoek, Kommetjie, Glencairn.
Well, before we let you go, if people want to get in touch with you, just to have your number at hand, can you give us your details?
Yes, for sure. It's 083 244 3587. That's my cell phone number.
Wonderful stuff. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for chatting to us about your unusual, fascinating job. And stay safe out there, please.
Absolute pleasure, and thank you very much for having me on the show.
Eusebius Makaiser on Cape Talk.
Weekday mornings,
9 till 12.
If there were charges, we would all know about the charges.
I think over time we will get the full picture. I also think in addition to silent and complicated racial dynamics,